Harmeet Singh Chandi was the officer posted at Flore, and he captured Talwinder Singh Parmar from Jammu.
He in fact travelled with us to Canada.
Which year?
2007.
Okay.
And handed over all the evidence to the RCMP as well as to the counsel for the commission, John Major. And we were promised that they will put ourselves as witnesses before the commission.
Okay.
But what they actually did was that they separated us from him and nobody was examined. And it was in June 2007 and we returned back. And we were amazed that why has been separated by a very dramatic event, that he complained of a chest pain and 911.
This was in Ottawa or this was in Toronto?
This was in Ottawa. And then he was taken away and thereafter we never heard him. And neither we were examined. And in the newspaper they say the witnesses are afraid, they're not willing to go.
This information was provided by the Commission of Inquiry to the press.
So Justice John Major of Commission of Inquiry would brief the press that the witnesses have withdrawn because they
due to
have,
fear of
and you were the witness and Chandi was.
Chandi.
It is a classic operation gone wrong. If I now take it, assuming Talwinder Singh Parmar team has planned to blast this plane, the plan from comes it that the whole evidence, even in the trial, comes out that looks like this was not designed to, the bomb was not designed to go while the plane was in air, while the passengers was in the air. It was designed to go after the plane has landed, and thereafter in the baggage there was a bomb, and during in the baggage lounge it is supposed to go off.
So what do you finally have to say to the families who actually want the truth?
First thing we want to tell the families that the black and white version is not correct. When the Sikh or a Khalistani says that the government of India did it, that is not correct. When they say that these militants are so heartless as they did it, that is also not correct. And if they say that the Canadian investigation is at par and they did found the truth, that is also not correct. So therefore the mystery still deepens. Why would they do a crime which hurts them so completely? Sikhs were getting a lot of support for the Western world before Blue Star, and even after Blue Star they were perceived as victims. And after Kanishka, they were perceived as terrorists across the world. And they lost so much. And if some foolhardy person has actually done it, he should be exposed. He should be pointed out. He should be tried. He should be actually hanged. Crime is a crime, and a major crime. But why should the truth be not there? Therefore, the accountability of the government of India in ordering a killing when a man was in the custody of key evidence, the accountability of John Major Commission of covering up evidence, the accountability of the RCMP, that why have they not following the leads given by that? And why have they not publicly gone across government of India that they have gave us a false report that Talwinder Singh is killed in a genuine encounter? They are so vociferous on Hardeep Singh Nizar, and they are completely silent on Kanishka. So why are they silent? Why is government of India silent? They are also very silent. On Hardeep Singh Nizar, government of India's stand was so amazing. There they are silent, whether it's 329 or 331.
Fact that one of the conspirators in the Kanishka bombing was a guy called Surjan Singh Gill, and then there was a guy called Surmukh Singh. There are a few other names other than Talwinder Singh Parmar, Ajab Singh Bagri, Inderjeet Rayar, Ripudaman Malik. Was there any connect that during your independent investigation of the case that was established between the conspirators of Kanishka bombing, including Talwinder Parmar or the other co-conspirators, with any of the intelligence agencies of any of the country, including India and Canada? In Canada, I mean CSIS.
Surjan Singh Gill was directly connected with the CCG. And Mr. Talwinder Singh Parmar was directly connected with the Lakhbir Singh Rode, who was connected with the MK
Which is the Indian intelligence?
Indian intelligence, IB officer.
How was Surjan Singh Gill connected to CSIS? He did mention it to you. When did you meet him? What did he tell you?
He was blackmailed by the CCG due to some relation with female, and later on he was used as agent. After the Air India bombing, he was shifted to England.
Right now, I'm being joined by Punjab human rights organizations, key activists and functionaries. We have Punjab and Haryana High Court Senior Advocate Rajwinder Singh Bans and Mr. Sarabjit Singh Verka, who have extensively investigated the Kanishka bombing case with perspective and with a reference to the arrest and subsequent interrogation of Talwinder Singh Babbar, one of the key accused in Kanishka bombing. So today we will be talking to both of these gentlemen who had been to Canada and deposed before the Commission of Inquiry, the retired Supreme Court Judge, Justice John Major Commission of Inquiry, what had been their experiences 40 years on. The Flight 182 Air India Kanishka bombing still haunts the memory of over 300 people who lost their lives. Their families have been crying for justice, which has unfortunately not been delivered. So there have been a lot of loopholes which have been independently investigated by Punjab Human Rights Organization. So Rajwinder Bansji and Virkaji, welcome.
Thank you.
So first of all, I'd like to ask you, 40 years down the lane, how do you remember this Kanishka bombing and the investigation which people find inconclusive?
No, our interest as an organization was generated when all the accused were acquitted in 2005. And then one of the police officers disclosed that obviously they had to be acquitted because the real person was killed in an encounter in India, in Punjab. And that raised our curiosity that how could be the main suspect of Kanishka bombing be killed in Punjab? And thereafter, the evidence came to our possession through a police officer who had actually arrested Parvinder Singh Tarwar and has interrogated him and has recorded his not only confession but all other evidence also, which actually disclosed as to the key mystery of this whole case. Who was L. Singh? Who was the person who actually planted the bomb in Kanishka? Who was the person who took boarding pass and did not board the plane, went inside, planted the bomb and came back, did not board the flight? That is the whole mystery of this whole case.
When you go through the Justice John Major Commission of Inquiry report, there have been a lot of information that has been revealed, but more of the things have been done in terms of recommendation, not in terms of fact-finding. So what was your fact-finding mission all about, and how did you get into this whole thing? How did you start the process of investigation, and did you get to interact with the Canadian authorities? If you can shed some more light on that.
You see, once we came across an evidence that Talwinder Singh Parwar was taken into custody and thereafter a fake encounter was conducted and he was killed, and the police officer had retired and was willing to testify, we communicated with the Canadian authorities, including the counsel for the commission, that we have some evidence which we believe is relevant.
And this was year?
2005. And John Major Commission was already set up in 2006. It was functioning. And then he invited us that we come to the commission and we would love to have your evidence if it is relevant. And we are able to go to Canada along with the key police officer who had not only the recordings, audio recordings, plus handwritten slips also of Talwinder Singh Parmar, along with his other confession as to how exactly Kanishka plane conspiracy was set in motion and executed.
So this investigation was done by Punjab police when they had Talwinder Parmar in their custody. So they would interrogate. These were his disclosures made in a police custody.
Yes.
So the probability of that being a forced confession, I mean, what is the level?
Apart from the fact that it usually in India the police do use torture, but our experience is that normally the accused or suspect tells the truth because he knows that this evidence has no value in the court. So most of the criminals, they don't want to be tortured. And they say, okay, we'll tell you the truth to do whatever, collect evidence. But they also know that any confession made to the police has no evidentiary value in Indian court. Though in many other countries, the confession for the police is accepted.
So how do you find this thing relevant to Kanishka bombing?
But that is actually corroborated by his handwritten slips also, which was not directly a confession, but was given to other friendly police officers who were helping him in terms of, had won their trust. So he was sending message to his friend, you please convey this thing.
While in custody?
While in custody.
So we're talking about somewhere in October 1992 when Talwinder Parmar landed in police custody, right?
He was arrested on 7th of October 19, not legal arrest, but illegal arrest.
He was taken in custody, right?
From 9th to 14th he was interrogated and they collected all the materials. And then the orders came from above that you just kill him. and he was killed with 2 or 3 other persons.
That was a staged police encounter, right?
Yes.
It happened in Philor.
It happened in Punjab a lot of times, and we have a lot of experience of finding that how do you find the encounters are fake. Usually the basic, the documents, the postmortems and the first information report of crime and allied circumstances do disclose whether it's an actual encounter where you're firing across the distance and then the person gets killed, or he's in custody, there's a signs of torture on the body and then you kill it from close range. And in case of Dalvinder Singh Parmar, he was hit with very close range 3 bullets. We had exit wound as well as entry wound, 2 on the chest and 1 on the side of the neck, exit wound on the other side of the head. And the description in the first information report was that it was a long distance, the police was on the roof of a house and they were firing, and they were on the ground hiding, and from the bushes they were firing, and they were the cross firing, and that's how they died. That version was so contradictory that almost anybody will believe that this is not the truth.
How was this scenario of a fake or a staged encounter somewhere in Punjab of Dalvinder Singh Parmar, a key suspect in the Kanishka bombing, was relevant to this bombing investigation? What was the disclosures?
He is disclosing the L Singh. He is disclosing the identity of L Singh, who planted the explosives on the plane. That is a major suspect. The rest is all helpers. And that trial was, the Canadian police was already collecting evidence. The trial was to be conducted in Canada, and this is 92. The crime has happened in 85.
No, almost 7 years down the lane.
The world knew that Dalvinder Singh Parmar is one of the suspects. And he is disclosing something, whether as a witness or as an accused. The most legal thing and the most sensible thing was to hand him over to Canadian authorities. Canadian police who is investigating, for them it is very, very relevant thing that he is disclosing who is L Singh. And he is disclosing many other things. Who, how, everything. Which is in tune with the evidence collected by the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. So once you know it's such a relevant evidence, why have you not handed him over to the Canadian authorities? Why did somebody at the highest level order that he should be killed? That was a mystery. That created our interest. And then, of course, we offered to give this evidence to the Canadian police, and they did accept it and actually verified also the voice and the audio tapes also that this is of Dalvinder Singh Parmar. They also verified the handwriting also, which he has given on slip, which was given to other friendly officers. These police officers preserved this evidence because they thought when that order came for direct killing, they say we may be investigated for killing. So in order to have a defense that we have done nothing wrong and we have only interrogated him, and they prepared a report and kept all this evidence preserved with them. Officially he was shown as killed in an actual encounter, the case was closed. But the police officers themselves kept this evidence with them for years, that in case they are proceeded against by the relatives of somebody else or by any other inquiry.
This police officer was of which rank? What was his name?
DSP, Deputy Superintendent of Police, which is the first gazetted rank.
His name was?
His name was Mr. Harmail Singh Chandi, HS Chandi.
Okay.
And he in fact travelled with us to Canada.
Which year?
2007.
Okay.
And handed over all the evidence to the RCMP as well as to the counsel for the commission, John Major. And we were promised that they will put ourselves as witnesses before the commission.
Okay.
But what they actually did was that they separated us from him and nobody was examined. And it was in June 2007 and we returned back. And we were amazed that why has been separated by a very dramatic event, that he complained of a chest pain and 911.
This was in Ottawa or this was in Toronto?
This was in Ottawa. And then he was taken away, and thereafter we never heard him. And neither we were examined. And in the newspaper they say the witnesses are afraid, they're not willing to go. Not willing to.
So the newspapers quoted you being afraid, which you were not.
Which were not.
And same for Chandi thing?
Same for Chandi.
We are not quoted. This information was provided by the Commission of Inquiry to the press.
So Justice John Major of Commission of Inquiry would brief the press that the witnesses have, withdrawn because they
due to fear of.
And you were the witness, and Chandi was.
Chandi was.
So what was the disclosure of Harmail Chandi? If you can slightly, briefly tell about it. What did he tell the Punjab police, which was very important from the perspective of Kanishka bombing investigation?
Harmail Singh Chandi was the officer posted at Philor, and he captured Dalvinder Singh Parmar from Jammu he had taken the custody of Parmar from the Jammu Police and remained with the custody from 9th of October 1992 to 15th of October 92.
When the encounter?
When he was killed in an encounter, in a fake encounter.
So during these 5 to 6 days, he would tell police about what he did with the bombing conspiracy?
Disclosure about all the activities he performed in India or outside India. And even life history, his relatives, his education, and then his criminal participation in Khalistan movement. Even in Air India case, he discloses his involvement and involvement of others.
What I have understood is the Justice John Major Commission of Inquiry refers to a lot of things, but were some parts not in the inquiry regarding Parmar that he disclosed in the police custody in Punjab? Like for say, doing those test bombing trials in the jungles of Duncan?
The Commission of Inquiry was established to find out the reasons of failure of case of Kanishka bombing. And the information and evidence which were provided by the Harmail Singh was very important for the Commission to conclude their inquiry. But unfortunately, they ignored all the evidence, including audio recordings, video recordings and slips and other confessional statements of Talvinder Singh Parmar and others co-accused Ragbir Tank and other 2 Pakistani nationals and 3 other persons.
Most of them, they were killed in that encounter, right?
They were killed in an encounter. And they had taken the evidence in our presence. RCMP was also interviewed, Harmail Singh and other persons. But after inquiry, we found that the evidence which was handed over to them, very crucial evidence, important, that was excluded from the inquiry report.
So why would that happen? And as Mr. Vedka would tell, that it had some audio recordings. What were these audio recordings about? What could they involve? Did you get to hear those recordings? Were you aware of what were the contents of the evidence that you were handing over to the
We
Canadian?
were, because they were deciphered by the Canadian authorities. And then, of course, they gave us a transcript also. And we have the transcript also. And we heard it also. And this is, of course, questioning by the police. And though it may not be legally admissible in India, but it's certainly admissible in many other countries. But in any case, it's giving the clue of investigation to different suspects. And one of the main suspects which the Canadian police kept on searching was that who planted the bomb. And this was the direct clue which he was giving.
He was going to the extent of telling that L. Singh, who was that L. Singh? What as per those?
As per him, it is Lakhbir Singh, and Lakhbir Singh at the relevant time was based in Pakistan.
Lakhbir Singh Rode, the International Sikhs Youth Federation head,
whom
right?
the government of India says is a Khalistani terrorist. And yet when the government of India issues Interpol notice for Lakhbir Singh, it mentions very minor offences. Lakhbir Singh is well known in this part of the country as periodically he sends weapons and consignments of RDSS.
Now he's no more.
He is no more now. And each time the consignment never actually gets used. Most of the people who collect it gets arrested. Police always have a prior information. And therefore, the fact that the government of India has made no serious effort to either apprehend Lakhbir Singh or the way they have assassinated Paramjit Singh Panjwar or other persons, they have made no such attempt to trouble Lakhbir Singh in Pakistan, though he's a Pant. And I fear is our inferences that why did they remove this Lakhbir Singh name from the report and why did they kill Talvinder Singh was that the Lakhvinder Singh was insisting that he was the person. And if he is government of India asset, his cover will be blown up. Therefore, they told Canadian authorities, and that is why we say in the interrogation name comes, but when the report goes to the government of India and the government of India report goes to the Canadian government, this name is deleted. This name is deleted. And they say it was, they in fact don't even admit that he was interrogated and arrested. They say he was killed in an encounter. So to my ask is that the very motive for killing Talvinder Singh Parmar was that he knew something about the whole case which would have embarrassed government of India.
Which was the identity of L. Singh?
Yes, that would have embarrassed them and that would have embarrassed even Canadian government because
Yeah, that's the point. If it embarrasses the Indian government, that is fairly understandable. But why would Canadian authorities not take it on record, and especially in the Commission of Inquiry? Why did they find you unbelievable or incredulous?
This is what shocks us much more. We thought maybe the government of India has a motive, because there is a telltale evidence that the embassy or high commission officer cancelled the tickets in the same flight and in mass, which is very unusual. And therefore, it looks like they had prior information. They are linked with other members who are part of the conspiracy, as revealed by Talvinder Singh, was connected with India. In fact, the person was put on trial, Mr. Malik, Tipu Dhamra Singh Malik, is well known connected with India, and when he was assassinated, the India blamed Pakistan. And they say Pakistan has finished Indian assets. And he was the main accused, put on trial by the Canadian authorities. Yeah. Therefore, Indian government hand in the conspiracy or in execution is suspected. So is, and the blame was clearly on the Sikhs. That
the separatist Babar Khalsa, of which Talvinder Singh Parmar was the head.
That was great publicity help for Government of India after Blue Star, because the Sikhs were protesting, and the Government of India could tell the rest of the world that, look, they are a group of people who are criminals and they have not mind killing innocent people on a flight. And therefore directly, if anybody has planned, like Talvinder Singh Parmar may have confessed to some role in it, but he also said the idea was not his, idea was of Lakhbir Singh. He was able to supply explosives to testing it, and whether it works or not.
But he was privy. He had this knowledge that there is an Air India flight that is going to be bombed.
So was the
right?
knowledge was with the High Commissioner of India also. There's something going to happen.
Did Talvinder Parmar tell that this information was with the High Commissioner, or this is an assumption?
That is an inference drawn from the facts.
So that is not recorded in the confession statement. It is recorded in this confession statement of Talvinder Singh Parmar that information was with the High Commissioner of India.
The likely bombing or whatever it was, right? So that is an inference.
Therefore, the motive for killing Talvinder Singh Parmar is apparent. Now the whole question is, why would the Canadian government doesn't want to have the truth?
That is a very big question.
I can say the Babar Khalsa or the government of India or the High Commission may have something to do, some interest to push one agenda or the other agenda. But the Canadian government is supposed to find out the truth.
And they have a commission of inquiry after 20 years. Right?
Why would they play tricks with us? And you see, when they did
what happened, Mr. Bains, what happened when you landed with Harmail Singh Chandi, the DSP? So the DSP, the Deputy SP, who interrogated Talvinder Parmar, was your main witness, along with certain audio tapes, and you landed with in front of the Commission of Inquiry. So what happened then? What happened to Chandi?
We were put in a government, in a kind of hotel with government expense. And after 2-3 days, we were, of course, interviewed by the counsel for the commission and recorded our statements and all kind of things. RCMP also met us. But after 2 or 3 days, initially we landed at Toronto, then we went to Ottawa, and there also we were housed by them. And then one day, early morning, Chandi complained of pain in the chest, and he said he was taken to hospital. And then he was incommunicated. He was not with us. We don't know what happened to him. And neither he was examined by the commission nor we were examined. That was in June 2007. And then, of course, we came back and then we gave an interview to Tehelka. Look, that's what happened. Even if we wanted to give evidence, they did not took us. Probably that caused them some embarrassment. They called us again in September. They wanted me to come alone and again testify. He said, we'll come together, because he has collected the evidence, Sarabjit Singh. And then we were called together. Again they gave us a ticket. Again they hosted us and reimbursed our expenses. But when the time came for testimony, Harmail Singh was not there, TSP, the real witness. We were called as joint witnesses. And then we were explained the story. We were only simply asked not to explain in detail, and only whatever the question the counsel for the commission asked for it. And he asked a few introductory questions, and then we were put to cross-examination. The World Sikh Organization Council asked us one question, with the report which you have made. We made a report of we also attended an evidence which was the report made by the police of the interrogation of Talvinder Singh Parmar before killing him. He said, what was this report? How it was made? He said it was the interrogation report. Now that answer itself indicated that Talvinder Singh Parmar was in their custody and later killed. The moment the commission heard that it's an interrogation report, they say cross-examination over, testimony over, we were whisked away or hushed away into some tunnel so that the presidency, yes, and moved out of the city. And that's for our testimony. And in the commission report, no mention of the evidence given by Mr. Chandy. The minor evidence that we had appeared as witnesses. That is all. They just
they did a hush job, right?
Hush job of the complete relevant evidence. It was relevant. To my mind, it was relevant. That's why they called us that twice. That's why they reimbursed our expenses, gave us ticket, housed us. It was relevant. In spite of that, what they did is completely beyond our understanding that what is their interest. But when they say that they destroyed evidence, subsequently we learned how they destroyed the
CSIS tapes.
Tape evidence.
That's very important because the Justice John Major Commission of Inquiry does point out that very vital parts of those wiretaps which could have been very instrumental in finding out the truth were actually wiped away as per some of their rules of the newly formed CSIS. And in this case, your evidence or what Chandy was offering. So Chandy never met you afterwards?
I personally never met. I think he met him thereafter.
Did he explain what happened to him?
No, he
Many years later, he met
He was also kind of managed or manipulated by
he was managed by the Canadian authorities.
Today I'm really, this thing actually astonishes me when we today, every day in and day out, right now we are talking about a 2024 report of CSIS, which again has, very clarion references to the Indian gangsters which are actually doing committing crime, and they're supposedly in touch with some Indian government's agents. So there's a lot of focus on this kind of criminal activity, organized criminals doing the work for, these are the allusions which we are finding in the CSIS reports. But what we are trying to understand here is that is a far bigger tragedy, over 331 people killed, and nobody is interested in actually finding out the truth. Why do you think Canada would do that, or a Commission of Inquiry, Justice John Major or the RCMP would not believe in your, because one question can be if they learned that you had some interrogation report, they don't rely on the interrogation report, the custodial interrogation. So they might just say that it was a custodial interrogation, we don't believe that.
Maybe, but they have to deal with it. He talks of suspects. Have you interviewed those suspects? Have you followed the lead given by them? You could have called those suspects' name, whether he's telling the truth or not. The other actors would have been summoned by the commission to find out whether his tapes are truthful or not, whether it's his voice or not, because those description is so accurate and so detailed that is doubtful, and it has been independently verified by all the persons known to him. Whatever he's telling was, most of the things were 100% correct. And it's our experience also that the torture of Punjab police is so brutal that ordinarily we also tell ourselves, you tell the truth. So let's finish the ordeal. And usually this is understandable that they tell the truth. Though that's why, because torture is so prevalent in Indian method of policing or interrogation, that courts by law don't rely upon those confessions.
And somehow these custodial interrogation audio recordings of Talvinder Singh Parmar did exist. You had them in possession, and they were handed over to the Commission of Inquiry, which probably refused to take it on record.
Audio, video, and information collected worldwide. From England, from Germany, from Canada, from India.
Those are the corroborations of what was being said. If Talvinder Parmar, let's say, in front of police confessed something, so you corroborated it with some other sources. This PHRO, okay.
They are concerned about Hardeep Singh Nijjar case, but not concerned about 331 people that were died in Kanishka.
Finally, what is your, conclusion? Nobody wants to investigate the case?
No, my impression is after that everybody has something to hide. Therefore, they don't want to have the complete truth. Government of India has something to hide. Talvinder wanted to have a press conference for his death. He could not come, so he wanted to reveal something. So he also had some weight on his heart that he wanted to reveal to the public that why.
How do we know that Talvinder Parmar wanted to address this issue?
Because it has come that he has given messages to one of the journalists to arrange a press conference.
Before he was captured. He was captured on 7th of October 1992
before that.
From Jammu. Before that he was...
Now for a man doing an armed struggle underground, for him it is very unusual to hold a press conference and reveal something. So obviously he wanted to reveal that it's not, maybe his role is minimum, maybe he is misled, maybe he is used as a pawn, or maybe he did it and is very proud of it. Both ways he wanted to reveal something crucial he wanted to reveal. And which of course he revealed the conspiracy.
Even he disclosed to that press reporter that he wants to arrange press conference regarding the Kanishka bombing.
Press conference didn't happen, but nevertheless, these confessions were there in those
But he
tapes,
was
right?
the key to solve the whole crime. He was the key.
Talvinder
And the
Parmar.
key was with the government of India. And the key was destroyed. Consciously, clearly, with a deliberate decision at the highest level. Why would you do it? That raises such a question on government of India.
Then there were remnants of that destruction, the evidence which again Canada wouldn't
And
believe.
Canada had it, and again they did not even mention it. Why would they do that? That means each piece of evidence which they have not brought for the public embarrasses them also, it embarrasses government of India also, and maybe others also who had an interest. Otherwise, there was no reason for the commission of inquiry to actually not deal with evidence which they themselves said is very relevant, and that's why they invited us there.
Did the Commission of Inquiry in this report draw any adverse inference vis-a-vis what you had offered? Because usually if something is to be not believed, it could be said that it is not a reliable piece of information or an evidence that has been put forth.
They
didn't
had
refer to
excluded that evidence.
They didn't refer to that evidence.
So yeah, they could have said that it is a wrong piece of information. These gentlemen are not reliable.
How could they display?
Even they appreciated in report evidence given by us.
But the evidence is not there.
Not
But how could they dispute the post-mortem, the first information report, the audio tapes, the everything? At best they say, maybe it's under torture. That's all they could have said. But the relevance is let large. The moment you reproduce them, the relevancy to the conspiracy comes quite clear. Therefore, we were disheartened with the Canadian investigation and the Canadian Commission of Inquiry.
And finally, what is your message to those 331 people who have been killed? They're the relatives who seek some kind of justice, and then there is a parallel set of the Khalistan supporters who, with their placards, with their flags, would want fresh inquiry into the case. So you've been 40 years of this whole ping pong. You've seen, having been a part of that commission of inquiry and having been so, I would say, remarkably, put out of even the context, not taken on record. So what do you finally have to say to the families who actually want the truth?
No, the first thing we want to tell the families is that the black and white version is not correct. When the Sikh or a Khalistani says that the government of India did it, that is not correct. When they say that these militants are so heartless as they did it, that is also not correct. And if they say that the Canadian investigation is at par and they did found the truth, that is also not correct. So therefore the mystery still deepens, and we must find out how do we fix the accountability. Can we ever say with a clean heart that the intelligence agencies of major countries don't do any crimes? We know there are movements, armed movements, separatist movements, they do commit crime like that, but a crime which hurts them, they normally don't do. Why would they do a crime which hurts them so completely? Sikhs were getting a lot of support from the Western world before Blue Star, and even after Blue Star, they were perceived as victims. And after Kanishka, they were perceived as terrorists across the world, and they lost so much. And if some foolhardy person has actually done it, he should be exposed. He should be pointed out. He should be tried. He should be actually hanged. Crime is a crime, and a major crime. But why should the truth be not there? Therefore, the accountability of the government of India in ordering a killing when a man was in the custody, a key evidence. The accountability of John Major Commission of covering up evidence. The accountability of the RCMP. That why have they not following the leads given by that? And why have they not publicly gone across government of India that they gave us a false report that Talvinder Singh is killed in a genuine encounter? They are so vociferous on Hardeep Singh Nizar, and they are completely silent on Kanishka. So why are they silent? Why is government of India silent? They are also very silent. On Hardeep Singh Nizar, government of India's stand was so amazing. They're silent, whether it's 329 or 331.
The fact that one of the conspirators in the Kanishka bombing was a guy called Surjan Singh Gill, and then there was a guy called Surmukh Singh. There are a few other names other than Talvinder Singh Parmar, Ajab Singh Bagri, Inderjeet Rayat, and of course Ripudaman Malik, right, who's no more. So there were these few names. Was there any connect that during your independent investigation of the case that was established between the conspirators of Kanishka bombing, including Talvinder Parmar or the other co-conspirators, with any of the intelligence agencies of any of the country, including India and Canada. In Canada, I mean CSIS.
Surjan Singh Gill was directly connected with the CCG. And Mr. Talvinder Singh Parmar was directly connected with the Lakhbir Singh Rode, who was connected with the MK Dar,
Which is the Indian intelligence.
Indian intelligence IB officer. Even I interviewed Surjan Singh Gill. Also, he admitted his role in the crime Air India case and his association with the CSIS. And
Why was Surjan Singh Gill, how was Surjan Singh Gill connected to CSIS? He did mention it to you. When did you meet him? What did he tell you?
He was blackmailed by the CSIS due to some relation with female, and later on he was used as agent, and then he passed the information of Air India, half information.
He used to do some leads or some tip-off, some kind of information, and would justify himself as an asset.
And therefore he was finally, after the Air India bombing, he was shifted to England.
So why would Mr. Vance, why would this relocation happen and this connection with the CSIS and Surjan Singh involved with the Talvinder Parmar, further connected to Lakhbir Singh Rode? Lakhbir Singh Rode apparently an asset who was working. All of these apparently look like to be Khalistani leaders.
It is a classic operation gone wrong. If I now take it, assuming Talvinder Singh Parmar team has planned to blast this plane, the plan comes that the whole evidence, even in the trial, comes out that looks like this was not designed to, the bomb was not designed to go while the plane was in air, while the passengers was in the air. It was designed to go after the plane has landed, and thereafter in the baggage there was a bomb, and in the baggage lounge it was supposed to go off.
And it was a time bomb which the timer had been set according to...
More than the journey time.
Okay.
Nobody knew at that stage, not the conspirator if it is Babar Khalsa, not the conspiracy high commissioner if they had some role. Nobody knew except Air India that they had to make an unscheduled flight, stoppage. When the flight...
Vancouver to Montreal. They had to stop into Montreal and then they had to fly to...
Montreal was not a scheduled stop.
Okay.
It was an unscheduled stop. And there they have to pick up some luggage, maybe some engine which was repaired. And that took little more time. And
the bomb had been, loaded onto the plane in Vancouver.
Vancouver. Yeah. And therefore, it was almost near the completioner's flight when it went off. Because of the delay and that flight which stopped in between, the delay taken in taking the special luggage.
But again, that is an assumption because in this kind of environment, half an hour here or half an hour there, were you taking this much risk that you actually wanted the whole bomb to go off when the planes were stationary?
Because the second part of the second bomb was in the different plane. Yeah, and that it went exactly the way, that had a scheduled flight. So that stopped there, it ultimately killed only 2 persons. So whosoever planned it, he planned it in a kind of certainly some operation to either to gain publicity or to show a lesson that we can do anything, we can even do it. But who was so planning? And probably this much knowledge was there in the knowledge of even Canadian authorities. That this guy, but then they really not thought it's dangerous enough to stop it in midway. The High Commissioner thought we will use it for our own advantage, and therefore they acted on these that you do it, and they allowed it to happen. Otherwise, do you think it's very difficult once you get a boarding pass and then
the person is not boarding the flight? Yeah.
So anyway, it happened. The fact that
he was elsing.
The moment it turned out a serious tragedy with worldwide attention. You see, if it would have been just burst after landing, there may be one or nobody would have killed. It would have created a lot of publicity, but no investigation. It would not have been a serious crime. But the fact that it happened, it far more. And then the whole attention was to find out not the truth, but to cover up. Because everybody has...
Everybody tried to cover it up.
Everybody has some role in it. So that explains why nobody wants to find out the complete truth. And therefore, I think it is much better to confess that we allowed it this, but no, who will do it? Government will never do it. Government of India will never do it. And that explains why Talvinder Singh Parmar was killed. Otherwise, there was such a high-level asset of a country who is a wanted suspect. Why would he ever be killed when he was revealing so much? And so much he has revealed even in the leftover records. And you have a living witness. And even that is not examined judicially. to make it a long-lasting evidence.
But where would the onus lie in terms of finding out the truth? Who should have found out the truth? Who should
Of
have
course,
found
the
out truth?
Canadian
Canadian
authorities, they are supposed to do that. They have been making such an acting that they have done millions, most costly investigation, blah, blah. In 2011, they came to us, again with CBI. And then we have to snub them and tell them that you never examined us when we were there. When we gave, you never referred to the evidence when we were there and we gave it. You never examined the most relevant witness, which we brought. And now what are you seeking from us? And through the CBI, now...
They came before this news got published in a magazine, and that was it the reason why they would come back?
We don't know. 2011, they were still investigating. After John Major, again they are investigating. What are they doing?
Crime is planned, executed in Canada. They are responsible for any investigation.
To find out the truth. Mr. Bains Verka Saab, thank you so much for sparing time and talking at this length.
Thank you. Welcome.